All right, back with hot stocks. What's looking hot? Jubilant Life Sciences is up 6.5% in trade, so that's a strong show. Peninsula Land, viewers would remember that a few days ago, the talk of a development in a central suburban property had given a bit of a fillip to Peninsula Land. In today's session as well, the stock is up close to 5.5%. Essar Oil is up close to 4.5%. And amongst the more liquid names, there is Pantaloon, which is up 2.5%. Now we can't call TTK a liquid stock. It's not an FNO anymore, but 2.5% up. So after 2 days of severe downside, TTK Prestige restores some pride in today's trade. Pull up a KEC International as well. Extremely active in trade yesterday. In today's session, also 1.5% higher. Remember, amongst the power transmission companies, this one has probably shown the best track record in the last 3 months of winning new orders. But the market generally fairly bullish on some of these companies. Let's get in Mr. Ramesh Chandak, MD of KEC International, to talk about all this and more. Mr. Chandak, good having you. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Much as the interview is on the new order win that you had yesterday, but we are more keen to understand from you the trajectory of how the order wins have been in the power transmission business the last couple of months. And how are you seeing this going ahead over the next 6 months with all the talk of reforms taking place?
I think one thing is that if you see even this current order book, it is from almost many different countries and also from Power Grid and also from State Electricity Board. So it's a combination. So it's not only transmission orders, but a combination of transmission, power system, telecom, all the orders are there. So we have various separate sectors within the company, and each sector is gaining the order. So it's a good combination of different, and also good combination of various countries coming from North Africa to everywhere else. So I think it's a good it's not only purely a transmission orders. We have seen this year that the transmission orders have been fairly good in relation to earlier couple of years. One, because Power Grid has decided to ensure that all the transmission lines come in time, and they have been quite aggressive for last about 18 months to 2 years. That is really reflected now in getting the orders. So all the tenders which were floated last year, the orders have started coming in. And we expect that this year Power Grid will complete its target fully, and there will be a flow of orders from Power Grid also reasonably to the industry. We have been lucky that we got good share of the orders which have been announced in first 6-8 months, and we are seeing this trend going further. But in the end, the overall growth will come not only from the transmission, but will come from power system, railway, water, cable. In all the sectors, I think we are seeing good growth. Looking at the new reforms, it is going to take time. They've only been announced. It will take time to resolve the issues with SEBs, and the real impact may come sometime latter part of the next year. So I don't see immediate orders flowing because of the reforms which have been discussed. I think still the banks are not moved, and it will take a lot more time. So it's going to take time probably, the growth based on the reform.
Fair enough, but if you were to give us a breakup of your close to 10,000 crores order book between the government as well as the private sector, how do you see that breakup panning out into the future in terms of what kind of scale up do you see from government orders, and how much scale up do you see from private orders as a percentage of your overall order book?
See, in general, we have been dominated by the orders from the utilities, so I think that domination will continue. Sorry, as I mentioned that we have a fair combination of orders from cable, which are not the government orders. We have good orders from telecom. Railway again is basically the government orders. So, sorry, still I would say that 70-75% of our orders will be based on the government orders.
Okay, Mr. Chandak, the subsequent question to that would be, what's the current split in your order book? You did mention that it is not just the power transmission business which is giving you the orders, it's also the other verticals which are giving you the orders. So the current order book split into power transmission or power systems business, how are the different verticals adding up to the total order book?
See, in our order book today, about 67% is transmission. Power system is about 16%. Telecom and cable is about 3% each. Then we have water and railways which are around 5% each. This is a combination. So almost say 33% of order book is coming
Sure.
from a non-transmission level.
Great. Mr. Chandak, stay on. What we'll do is take a very quick break, come back, continue our discussion with KEC International, also get in Shrey Infra to speak about the subsidiary that may go public later this month as well, and get in stock recommendations from Deepak Mohani. Okay, back with Hot Stocks. We are in conversation with Mr. Ramesh Chandak of KEC International. So, Mr. Chandak, I'll make it slightly quick. You won new orders yesterday worth 868 crores. Recently, a 602 crore order from RPG Group, a 740 crore order as well on July 27th. Just tell us, from the current 9,500 odd crores of order book that you have, over the next 6 months, how much is the order book likely to swell? I'm asking for a gross addition. Forget the ones which will get executed. What's the gross addition of orders that you expect over the next 6 months?
See, normally we get orders about, in normal course, we get about 500 crore orders per month. That's the normal rate. Sometimes we can get good orders, so that's how the whole order book goes up. But I'm seeing that looking at our execution current cycle, our order book will maintain over 9,500 crore by really, even if we have a good execution. So I think the order flow will continue, that's our perception. There are good inquiries coming from Middle East now, Africa, as well as India. So overall growth looks quite positive. So far the business related to transmission and power system is concerned. So we are quite confident that we'll be able to maintain the tempo of the order book in times to come.
And while I appreciate that you, of course, diversified, one, your order book, and two, your geographical base as well, but purely from a perspective of somebody who wants to figure out how well would the power transmission order flow be for companies such as yours operating in the same space over the next 6 months, am I to guess from your earlier answer that you believe that the traction may not be immediate, would come about, but immediately over the next 6 months you do not see a rapid growth in power transmission orders?
No, I think we were talking about the reform impact. I think the transmission orders will come, transmission order will flow. And Power Grid has promised that this year they will release about 20,000 crore of orders, out of which 10,000 will be related to transmission. And I am confident that all the 10,000 crore orders they will release this year. So the tempo of transmission orders will continue. That time I was really talking in relation to the impact of reforms, whether very much higher momentum will come. And that is going to take time because
Mr.
to reform the SEBs, it's not
Mr.
that
Chandak,
one
excuse me, Mr. Chandak, excuse me for coming in out here, but we are running short of time. So I'll just tell you where my question came from. The belief in the market is that with all the reforms and the restructuring of the SEBs taking place, there will be more finance available for placing the power equipment orders in the first place, which will eventually percolate to the power transmission companies as well. Is that belief well placed, or is it misplaced?
That's correct. Yeah, that belief is well placed, but that impact will come only next year, not this year.
Okay. Really appreciate you taking this time out. I understand you can't talk numbers because in a silent period, so we will talk to you post your results coming out, Mr. Chandak. All the best for the quarter, and thanks so much for taking the time out.
Thank you very much.
That's Ramesh Chandak. Well, they have been on a spree as far as order wins go, and yesterday was no different. 868 crore orders, and the management fairly confident of maintaining the order book at around over 9,500 odd crores.